welcome you to Teaching Cosmetology, Putting the Pieces Together. This is going to be a series where we're going to tackle some real-life challenges that teachers have and give you some creative and helpful hands-on solutions. Thinking about this holiday when it comes to teaching cosmetology. I know that we do a whole bunch of scary masks and so on, but I wanted to talk about skeletons today. You know, they are really a very useful tool, and they're a useful tool all year long because we can take a skeleton and make it do bunches of things. And guess what? The day after Halloween, you can go get all kinds of different skeleton pieces, parts, and maybe the whole skeleton for rather a cheap price at places like your dollar store or Walmart or Target, because it's something you're going to be able to use all year long. For today's lesson, I have a fun one that is low cost and easy to prepare, but it will be something that can be used throughout the curriculum. So we're going to make a skeleton that we're going to use throughout our year, and it's going to make the anatomy, which is already so boring, that lesson is going to be fun instead of everybody dreading what they have to do for anatomy. Step one in our lesson today is going to be clicking the link down below where you're going to find a template, and the template is going to be something you print out. Yes, it's going to be paper, and there's probably 6 sheets per person or per group. You know, if you've got a big class, it's really good. Even if it's a small class, it's really good to pair the students. They collaborate better, they talk to each other, and in this case, they're going to be putting together everything that you are printing out, and they're going to be cutting each piece out of each of those templates. Okay, step 2 is going to be the students cutting out each of those pieces and sorting them. Then they have to label each bone. And as they label each bone, you can ask for several things. They can name the bone, they can name the system that the bone belongs to. You can use it for extra credit if you have to. But step 2 is where they're working together to give a name to each one of those pieces that they cut out. Depending on the size of your class, you may have given the whole set of skeleton to one person or one group, or you may have given pieces of those skeletons to different groups. Now comes step 3. They're going to assemble that skeleton, so you're going to be able to put it on your ceiling or hang it in your room. They can assemble it with brass tacks, if you know what those are. You can glue it, they can staple. However your creativity and their creativity demands it, it's time to put the things together with all the labels on them. Step 4, this is the time to talk. I know you're going to have talking when they're working with each other, but this is the time when you're drawing the whole class together and they're going to discuss, what did they do? What was their view? How did they like the idea of putting these labels on? What did they think they can use them? Because each of the groups needs to participate. I know that in a large class that's tough, but one of our issues is to make students talk and present themselves. So this is a good Q&A time. They can ask questions if they don't understand what's going on, but it's a great time to get them to discuss. And finally, we're on step 5. And step 5 is making this a tradition. You know that we talk about repeating. That means that something that we do over a period of time is going to help students remember. One thought is using this as a fun piece. At the beginning of class, I would have a whole selection of cut out pieces of the skeleton, and as each student walked in, I would cheerfully give them one piece, ask them to sit down and label that piece as to what it is, and then after about 5 minutes for an icebreaker beginning activity for the students, have them put together all of that skeleton, and I bet you that skeleton comes together pretty fast. But if you're doing this in a series of months apart from the time that you first did it, it's a reminder for students for things that they need to be reminded of. Aside from the fun piece of giving them a surprise when they walk in, you know there are several other chapters that you can use this information with. such as you printed out the bones of the hand, you printed out the face, and so now in the chapters for manicuring, for pedicuring, use that same idea. Same thing. I hope this was a simple, easy, quick idea for an activity that'll make one of our most boring lessons wonderful. You know, cosmetology is a lot more than memorization. The fact is that people make connections, and we want to encourage that. So when they have to build something, label something, talk about something, now you've got something that students will keep with them. And we want to carry that all the way through the year. So grab your skeletons and your scissors and anything else, and let's put pieces together. Thank you for sharing your time with me in our first lesson of teaching cosmetology, putting a puzzle together. We are going to have future ones where let's fill in the skeleton in a new creative activity. Hope to see you then.